Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of March 30th, 2014. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here, and a very happy April to you all. This week starts off with a new moon taking place in the sign of Aries. Now, this is a new moon that I spoke about in last week's weekly horoscope, but also in the monthly horoscopes as well. For some people in March, but for most people, most signs out there, I did speak of this for the month of April. So to get a little bit more about how this particular new moon is going to speak to you, you may want to check out your monthly video again. However, what I am going to say right now is it is an important time, certainly. A lot of astrologers are actually talking about what we call the cardinal grand cross. And what this is several key planets are lining up in cardinal signs and speaking with each other. They're having a conversation. Now, if you think about it, cardinal signs are really the signs that mark the turn of the season. And so they are an energy of starting, of wanting to begin, of freshness really as well, of newness. And when you've got these different power players sort of lining up and speaking to each other, it signifies change. We want change, we're driven to change, and we feel like something's got to change in at least one area of life for us all. Now, how this particular configuration is being played out for you is going to depend a lot on your own particular birth chart on the one hand. So how this particular configuration is speaking to your birth chart, but also how you tend to deal with this type of energy. So think back to what's been happening in your life since 2012, because this particular configuration has been around since then. Different peak moments, of course, but we can see certainly on a level of our culture, on a level of our society, there's been a move towards social change, certainly, and we can see that collectively, but individually as well. I know I've certainly seen a lot of friends and fans out there have been reaching out to me about the changes that they've been going through or have been inspired to make changes, and really cultivating the courage to make some of those changes as well. Cultivating the desire to actually believe that they can make those changes, that they can take action in support of a vision that they see for themselves, even if that vision isn't completely clear. Now, when we look at this particular configuration, it is one of those moments when this long-standing conversation started in 2012 will be with us through 2015. It's one of those peak moments in this particular cycle, and it is a moment that actually is not going to just be this particular new moon, but there are several indications taking place throughout this month that indicate an ongoing conversation that's taking place for all of us that is continuing these themes. So it isn't just that we kind of wake up and we have this inspiration that something's got to change right now, and then it just kind of goes away in 2 days. No, chances are that what does come forward now, the information that does come forward now, is not going to be likely to just be sort of put aside. And especially considering the fact that later on this month, later on in April, we enter eclipse season. Well, lots of changes are going to be happening for a lot of people, especially by the time we get there. So this particular new moon is taking place in the sign of Aries and taking place quite close to the planet Uranus. And as this new moon takes place, very quickly moves on to activate several key planets in the sky, including Uranus, including Pluto, and including Mars as well. And then right after that, a couple of days later, the sun will reach an exact moment in its conversation with Uranus, further continuing this energy. And then later on in the week, we are going to have the sun speaking with Pluto as well. So you can see how this energy just continues on. And then a little bit later on, once we get past this week, the sun is also going to speak eventually with Mars as well. What we also have happening this week, though, is it doesn't just stop there, okay? Lots of other good things are taking place as well. Mainly what we have is Mercury speaking in harmony with Saturn. So I find this really encouraging because it does suggest to me that it really is conversation and random interactions that bring a sense of structure to our lives. So it isn't just that we're having all these ideas, but we're understanding what's going to be effective. We're actually planning things that will end up having a strong impact, but also at the same time have a sense of understanding how to work with what already is and how to build on the strengths that you've already established. And then once we get to the end of the week, Venus is going to move into the sign of Pisces. Now, this should bring about a sense of dreaminess and idealism, especially where it comes to matters of love. Of course, Venus is the goddess of love. And so this is a time to really embrace the opportunity that's there to bring in inspiration, which would otherwise just be a conversation taking place that would say, do, action, action, action. Well, it really is Venus in Pisces that's going to infuse that with an energy of faith. There is a lot of energy building now, and how you channel that energy individually is going to determine how well you utilize this. I'm very much of the belief, I say it a lot, I know, but everything I do is to affirm in the world that the universe is wise and loving. And this is one of those moments when we have to actively choose to see that. We have to actively say to ourselves, okay, I feel this and I don't completely understand it and I want to take action and I kind of think I know what I want to do. Now I'm going to trust that even if I don't always feel comfortable, this is part of moving me towards love and towards wisdom. And we're learning a lot about ourselves in the process. And we're also learning a lot about our own power as well. How all this speaks to you and your sign is coming up right now. And just a quick reminder as well, that, and I know I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks, if you are inclined to jump ahead to your sign, if you are one of those people who likes to do that, please just click on the timestamps in the YouTube description, and that should jump you ahead to your sign. Hello, fabulous Aries. Well, this is a new moon in your sign. So I've spoken about this at length. Okay. I've spoken about this in March horoscopes, April horoscopes for you. What I will say is I do think that this is an important moment for you that is going to stand out, not only in terms of this year, but possibly for many years to come. And there is an element here of you being reborn, if you will, of you starting fresh and you feeling like you are ready for change. If your birthday, especially is taking place right around this time, this is set up to be a very powerful year for you, a year of a lot of new beginnings and a lot of, in some cases, very dramatic changes. Trust the changes you want to make. I think that you're going to know what's acceptable to you and what no longer is. And if you can trust that and go with that, I'm not promising you a totally steady road, but what I am saying is you are going to come into a greater sense of yourself. You have to be mindful that other people may ask you to justify what it is that you think you want to do, but you will find the perfect words to say what you need to say. So trust your inspiration and trust your gut above and beyond anything else, because it is going to be speaking powerfully to you about what you are ready to begin again. Hello, fabulous Taurus. Well, this week does mark a time of an internal shift, certainly. And when I see a sky like this being set up for you, I got to say, I don't know how much actually is going to be happening so much in the external world. Ultimately, this particular new moon is taking place in a part of the sky that has to do with what's already done. It has to do with releasing karmic ties. It has to do with forgiveness as well. But more importantly, it has to do with really acknowledging any kind of restlessness that might be there, even if you can't explain it. And really also paying attention to your dreams. That would be the space where lots of stuff would be happening now. When you get down to it, this is about releasing things on a level of karma, on a level of psyche, on a level of energy. Trust that process. If you give in to any kind of restless energy, if you resist some very colorful dreams that are likely to find you now, then you miss the opportunity. This is a cleansing from the inside out of what you no longer need and preparing you actually very nicely for the really big and wonderful beginnings that are going to find you towards the end of the month. Hello, fabulous Gemini. This week does promise a sense of seeing other people clearly, seeing who's on your side, particularly where it comes to a friend or friendships, and seeing really where it is that you belong in terms of whether you want to call it your peers, whether you want to call it within groups as well. But more than that, what I really like about what's taking place this week is an element of you sort of saying to yourself, you know what, I used to have a dream for my life. There was something I really wanted to do. There was something I really wished for, I hoped for, and I kind of put it to the side, and I don't want it to be the side anymore. I want to embrace what it is that I want to do, and I want to run with it. That's the type of energy I'm seeing you carry with you now and hold with you now. And so if you can embrace that and let other people be a part of the inspiration, then you're going to utilize this energy very, very well. If you don't embrace that, if you just continue to put it aside and say, oh, but that's so silly, and gosh, that was so long ago. If you say things like that to yourself, you're going to find yourself getting very restless, especially where it comes to other people. And what I am seeing with a percentage of you out there, some Geminis out there are likely to experience seeing their involvement in a group differently, where all of a sudden you realize just what the dynamics here are. You're honest with yourself about the role that this group has been playing in your life, if it works for you and if it doesn't. And where it doesn't, you will be willing to start fresh and you will be willing to start new. And it may look a little surprising to some people, but actually the clues have been there for a while. And actually you're just ready to see that you have gotten what it was that you needed to from these alliances. And now you're ready to have something a little bit more real and a little bit more authentic. Overall, you are on the path towards having alliances that truly are very honest and true and resonate with your heart. Hello, fabulous Cancer. Well, this week we do have Cardinal Grand Cross starting to play out. Yours is a cardinal sign. You've got Jupiter in there as well. All of this does suggest that you are certainly one of those signs. All the cardinal signs are really going to be feeling a very active push, if you will, to actually experience change. And where it is that you've been sort of feeling stifled, you feel like things haven't been progressing, you're likely to sort of look at that now and say to yourself, okay, why hasn't progress been happening? And I think, in all honesty, I think a lot of you are going to find that it might have been your own fears that have been keeping you back a little bit. That where you felt like action wasn't happening, it actually was that you were not allowing certain things to happen, or you weren't listening to what messages it was that the universe was telling you in terms of aligning yourself with something slightly different than you thought you were going for, but really just as majestic. Well, this week is a huge part of sort of bringing you into alignment with that, but it's part of a larger trend that's taking place over the course of this month. So don't give in to the restless energy, and especially don't give in to any voices in you that say, gosh, why couldn't I have done better? You did perfectly. Everything you did was what you could do, was the best that you could do in that moment. And now you're in a place where you can learn from what was, and you can decide on really how you're going to interpret what has been. But more than that, what I'm seeing is an invitation to listen more closely to your life. If you pick up that invitation, you're going to find yourself well rewarded for it. You're going to find yourself clarifying a path that's always been there. You just hadn't seen it, but clarifying a path forward towards experiencing progress in just about every area of life. Hello, fabulous Leo. Well, this week does promise a measure of really a vision, if you will, opening up to you. This is about being called to an adventure. Now, I spoke about this in the monthly horoscopes as well, so I don't want to repeat myself, just say that those themes are particularly strong at this time. However, what I will say is, as that does come up for you, what I find really interesting about what's taking place is an element of financial talks that's happening at the same time for you. So I would really invite you to, of course, welcome in the inspiration. Think about what it is that you're inspired to do, what adventure is calling you. I do see travel, certainly, for a lot of you out there. However, what you do want to also be mindful of as this travel is going on is that there's a larger lesson sort of playing out here as well. And I am seeing that some key conversations as part of this adventure, if you will, are going to open up prosperity for you, a type of prosperity that feels very stable. So be open to that prospect, because it looks like there is certainly a lot of resources available to you, new resources becoming available to you, especially right now. All you need to do is speak. You don't even have to necessarily ask. All you have to do is speak and say, wow, this is something I really want to do. Here's an adventure. Here's an opportunity to travel. Here's an opportunity to learn something new. And you will find that the resources you need are going to rush towards you. And more than that, what I'm seeing is people willing to talk to you about practical ways to advance what it is that you want to do, practical ways to fund what it is that you want to do. And so This week does have fun promised, and it does have an element of adventure, as I said, promised, but it also has an element of prosperity as well. If you can trust your fun, trust what it is you feel called to do, and then share where you are right now in your life and inspiration, I think you're going to find yourself experiencing abundance in ways that feel like not only that this is a stroke of luck, if you will, but more like you've hit something that promises stability and promises greater and greater strength and wealth for a long time to come. Hello, fabulous Virgo. Well, this week there is an element there for you in the sky that speaks to money. And I spoke about this in the monthly horoscope, so I'm going to invite you to look at that again. But this has to do with money that you access, really. This is about money from grants, loans, bursaries, gifts as well, insurance payouts, that type of thing. And you should hear, if there has been something that's sort of been in the wind and it's quieted down, this is a time when there should be some action around that. So if there's any kind of settlement or money that you've been trying to get, this is a time, especially this week, when some of that energy should kick up for you, and there will be an invitation to consider what options are available to you. And I think for some of you out there, you could certainly find yourself sort of very quickly being given the opportunity to confirm a settlement, if you will, and have a chance to really begin again. For others of you, though, I do see this as a time of you understanding where it is that you can actually access money. And chances are that some of this inspiration is actually going to come from a partner. And so right now, if you are aligned with somebody, if you're in a relationship, this may be a good time. Just talk to your partner about where it is that you are financially, what it is that you want to do, where it is maybe that you could access some funds. And I think you may be surprised at the plans that the two of you come up together. And also, I do think that you want to trust your random interactions at this time as well, because they're also going to support a sense of stability. If you are in a business partnership, this is a good time to have conversations as well, in line with where it is that you desire to go. Ultimately, the energy right now does have to do with looking at the resources in your life and where it is that you could have more and experience more abundance. But the larger lesson here is that there's a lot of healing being indicated around your relationship with money. And so if you embrace that and you work that energy out, you're going to find yourself, the money part, the actual physical part, has a way of just falling into place. You'll hit a flow with it. Right now, it's more a time of you understanding that ultimately what you're giving into the world is what tends to come back to you. And so if you can start with looking at how you feel about what you're giving, that is going to be a wonderful place to start to actually experience greater and greater prosperity going further down the road. Hello, fabulous Libra. Well, you are one of the cardinal signs as well. It is an important time for you, especially where it comes to love, especially where it comes to relationships. And I do think that this is sort of one of those, and I would have spoken about this in the love horoscopes for the month, but this is really one of those times when it's kind of a make or break moment, if you will. If you are with somebody and you feel that this is somebody that you would walk through fire with, that you are really down with, if you will, then this is going to be a time when you declare it, and that alliance is going to be made that much stronger. But if you have been letting something drag on for much too long, this is a time when you are likely to admit it to yourself. Now, keep in mind that 2 weeks from now, you have a lunar eclipse taking place in your sign. So I would have spoken about these two phenomenons in the monthly horoscopes, and this marks a really important time for you. Do not underestimate April. This is a month that really could stand out for you for the rest of the year, if not for many, many years to come, as a time when a lot of things changed for you and an internal understanding happened. And what I think is very likely is you're going to see clearly, have an experience with someone you consider a partner, most of you in love, some of you, though, in terms of business. And you're going to be deciding whether or not you are okay with this. It really is going to be another 2 weeks before you're really ready to accept and understand what's happening on a deeper level, before your energy really starts to shift. But at the very least, you are now going to gather experiences and gather information, if you will, that's going to help you really understand and really to be very clear on the choices that you are making where it comes to your partners. If you can be open to that, and if you can be brave enough to see the other person as they are, beyond any drama that might present themselves, but also beyond any fantasy that you might have held, if you're able to do that, then you move towards greater love and greater wisdom as well as part of the larger picture of your life, whether or not you choose to have this person be a part of that going forward. Hello, fabulous Scorpio. Well, there's all this energy happening, but yours is one of those signs that it's so interesting because you are a fixed sign, which means you take place at a certain time of the year when we're steady. We're right in the steady place of the season, if you will. So you're a sign right after a cardinal sign. And yours is a sign that while it is steady and while it is fixed, that's the part of you that can have the commitment. At the same time, you feel, something in you feels like if things get too steady, then something's off. You mistrust it because something within you knows that life is change. That if things are not getting better or not evolving, then they are stagnating. And to stagnate means that they're getting worse. So what are you going to do to actually get better? Well, what I'm seeing for you this particular week is you're very aware of this energy there. You're very aware of this prospect taking place for you and you can feel it. And yet at the same time, something within you feels very steady. And what that is ultimately something that's taking place on a level of mind and on a level of heart. And so while a lot of people around you may be a little bit tense and there may be a little bit of roller coaster emotions happening for a lot of people, for you, what I find really interesting is you are able to detach. So even if you are one of those people who's experiencing that roller coaster, you're able to detach enough to see it for what it is. Once you're able to do that, you're able to utilize it for the advantage that is inherently there and really is inherent in any situation, in any given moment. If you embrace the opportunity that is there to take the tension that's twirling around you and to understand how it's actually helping you, which it seems very clear that you are, you're going to find yourself taking leaps in terms of your progress on the work front, your progress in terms of your habits as well. But more than that, what I'm seeing is the real possibility for you to experience something that really resonates with you as possibly progress, but progress that you can actually feel, progress that isn't just about plans that you're making, isn't just about you toiling away, but you understanding that sometimes the most powerful moments are those that change the littlest moments in your life, change the routines of your day. That's where your focus is going to be. And I do think that for a percentage out you, there's about to be a light that comes on where you see what it is that you've been doing, how you've been living, and you decide that you can do it better. And you decide that you are ready to evolve and make progress. Hello, fabulous Sagittarius. Well, this week does promise a measure of joy, a measure of fun, a measure of surprise as well. Now, given that this particular new moon is taking place in a part of the sky that has to do with fertility for you, okay? This is fertile energy. So what this means is this could be literal fertility, okay? So this could be a time when some of you out there experience a surprise pregnancy, certainly possible. What could also happen this time is, because it's about fertility, this could be a time when an amazing creative project presents itself as well. So depending on where you are in your life and how you address this energy will depend on how it manifests. So if you're one of those people who tends to be more creative and tends to be more interested in things like self-actualization and your passions in life, then this is going to be a time when you are really going to be very determined is what it's going to come down to. You're going to want to feel a sense of your own creative energy flowing very freely. You're going to be fired up with a passion, fired up by an idea, and really willing to really go to bat for it. And those of you who are more likely to manifest this energy in terms of your children, which tend to be a symbol of our creation, certainly, then this is going to be a time when your children are going to be getting a lot of your energy. You're going to be thinking about your role in their lives and how you can be more effective, what you can do to actually facilitate not only the bigger picture, but also a sense of mutual growth taking place at this time as well. And as I said, if you're so inclined, some of you may find yourself pregnant, but it looks like when you relay that information, when you communicate that information, things go really well. So I hope that that part of it helps you. But regardless, remember, this creative energy is the energy of life, and that's what you're touching on this week. Decide how you are going to channel that energy of life uniquely in your own expression. You're going to find yourself manifesting new things that you like very much. Hello, fabulous Capricorn. Well, you are one of the cardinal signs as well out there. And as I've been saying to all the cardinal signs, it's going to be an important week for you. This is a week when you are really feeling the determination, the push, the drive to experience change, to experience progress in just about every area of life. On the one hand, there's a strong sort of pull towards home and continuing to build something that you'll be doing over the course of this decade that truly reflects you, that reflects a sense of freedom. And at the same time, what we have happening right about now is a lot of focus on career. But with this particular new moon, with so much of the attention being called to home, I am seeing you having to spend more time with family, having to spend more time with home, as I spoke about in the monthly videos. But I do think what's most important about this week, about what's taking place right now, is the fact that regardless of what happens, what drama is presented, you seem to find a way to say the perfect thing that has the strongest effect, that has the effect of bringing this into a more ideal situation. So trust your mind, whatever inspirations do come forward, because they do suggest that, or it does suggest that you are seeing things much more clearly than a lot of people around you. And while a lot of other people around you, especially in your family, may be having a little bit of dramatics, you are really able to see things in a different way. And if you can be that voice of reason, even though in the beginning, it may not be heard immediately, in all honesty. You just have to wait a moment. You will be heard, even if it isn't obvious right away. So be that voice of reason, because I am seeing you have enough of that detachment where you have a split second where you can decide, am I going to be the voice of reason here right now or not? Am I going to get caught up in this or not? And even if you end up getting caught up in it, it's okay, because you have the voice of reason within you. So at least you can talk to yourself about it later on, and you can always communicate with people later on as well. Your mind is thinking very clearly. You're thinking big picture. You're thinking long term. Lots of shifts are going to be happening for you now and over the course of this month. Right now it starts at home, but it's only going to go forward and forward from there, where you're experiencing change, you're experiencing determination, and you're experiencing an openness as well that's taking place slowly but surely, opening you up to love and helping you to understand your place in the world. Hello, fabulous Aquarius. Well, this particular new moon does involve your ruling planet, your modern ruling planet, which is Uranus. And Uranus is also meeting the sun this week. So it's a time of light bulb moments. Well, really, I'm seeing that the chance of you sort of having a realization about what you've been carrying on with, what is working for you, what is not working for you. It seems pretty obvious to me as I look at this that you are deciding whether or not you are okay with the way things have been going, if you are okay with where things are right now, and where you feel ready to just experience a breakthrough, where it is that you're ready for the next thing, for the new thing. And I think the likelihood of you sort of having a random interaction with somebody that really opens your eyes, like literally and metaphorically, especially as well, that really opens out your eyes to what has been, where you are now, but more importantly, the future, because ultimately your sign is one of the future, is going to really help you to make some important decisions right now about where you are and who's in your life and what's working for you and what is not. It's almost as if I'm seeing, in all honesty, I'm seeing for some of you, it's like you're waking up from a dream, like fingers being snapped. You're waking up from a dream and you're saying, oh, wow, okay, so this is the reality. This is who you really are. This is what's really going on here. And if you've been really carrying a fantasy for a long time, then it will be quite shocking. But I do think that there is a part of you that enjoys the shock. And so if you can find a way to have the humor in it, I think you're going to navigate this time very well. Ultimately, I do think that yours is one of the signs, because Uranus is such an important player in this cardinal grand cross. I do think that yours is one of the signs that is being asked to utilize this energy well. And you're also one of those signs who thrives in change. You're a fixed sign, like I spoke of in the Scorpio horoscope just now. You're a fixed sign. And so that does say something about wanting things to be steady, having the commitment to see things through. And yet you are also a highly changeable sign. So you're a sign that understands that if life is going to get better, there needs to be a sense of progress. There needs to be a sense of working towards something. There needs to be a sense of moving forward. And you're certainly embracing all of that this week. But more importantly, what I think is that embrace is likely to come a little bit further down the road later on this week, because in the early part of the week, it just looks like surprise after the other, and you're being woken up and you're deciding if you like it or not. But I actually think that you're going to like it. I actually see that you are going to enjoy it very much. You're going to be glad for the truth when it comes forward, because it's a truth within you coming forward, you deciding what's working in your life and what isn't, and you being brave enough to declare it and make some dramatic changes if need be. Hello, fabulous Pisces. Well, this whole energy this week, while there is a lot of things shifting around, especially for you where it comes to, in all honesty, it does look like where it comes to your finances, this kicks off an important time of a lot of learning, and this whole month has a financial focus, as I spoke about over the monthly horoscopes. However, what I think is really intriguing about what is taking place right now is the suggestion that, or the promise that, you really could find yourself being very honest with yourself, stumbling on a new way to make money that really resonates with what you really feel called to do. And while anybody else, I would look at anyone else and I'd say, whoa, okay, you might have mixed feelings about this. The thing is that Mercury moving through your sign is speaking in harmony with Saturn. And when I consider this, it does suggest to me that there's an element of stability within you. There's an element of understanding within you that the direction in which you're going is well and is good. There's a clarity within you that what you are going towards ultimately is going to bring about a greater solid future for yourself, a future more in line with what you are hoping for in life. And so, yes, financial changes are possible right now. Yes, financial breakthroughs are possible. You may have to run with them. In some cases, run very fast. However, you are thriving as well in the process. And in this process, you are going to uncover something bigger than just a new way to make money. But you are slowly but surely uncovering your calling and aligning your finances with that. And once you do that, the prosperity will not only come easily, but also will be more abundant than you ever thought possible. Well, thank you so much for watching. To all signs out there, it'll be a great week. Enjoy. Thank you for watching. It'll be a great month. Be fabulous and enjoy.